almost time for the NLL Championships. They start this weekend. Welcome to Lacrosse Link. I'm your host, Steven Stamp, and we have one player, key player from each of the combatants in the upcoming NLL Championship. Steve Priolo, the captain of the Buffalo Bandits. Joey Cupido, alternate captain, Lightning for the Colorado Mammoth. Great interviews with two of the really interesting and fun guys in the National Lacrosse League. Of course, stick around at the end for the rundown. We got some issues to deal with, but there's some good news, some fun stuff as well. So stick around for the rundown at the end of Lacrosse Link, your link to all things lacrosse.
Watched by Danby, a big pick from McGraw and another one. Back to McGraw. He's going to let it rip and scores. Liam McGraw from downtown.
Joining me on Lacrosse Link, the captain of the East Division champion Buffalo Bandits, Steve Priolo. Pri, it's great to have you on the show. Welcome to Lacrosse Link.
Hi, great to be here.
Looks lovely there. You're obviously very comfortable. It looks like you've enjoyed the week off. That's one thing I was wondering about I'm sure you guys all sat back and watched the West Division final game 3 to see who you're going to be playing. I was wondering, were you guys glad to have the week off and get to rest up? It's late in the season. Or would you rather, if you knew that you'd be going to the final, that you were going to win game 3, would you have liked to play it on the weekend?
I don't know. I think only time will tell, right? It's one of those things where it's like, the old story of the man that found the horse, but then the horse broke its legs. You never know until the future comes. So again, it's nice because you get the rest, but it also would have been nice to just keep rolling, right? So, it's a double-edged sword, but hopefully we just keep going here.
Yeah, it always seems like during the regular season, teams that had the bye tend to come back and have a bit of a struggle, but I feel like it's a bit different in the playoffs just because the regular season is one thing. You try to bring it every week, but it's just the intensity and the focus for the final seems to be a little more sharp.
Yeah, everybody knows when the weather starts getting nice, it becomes more difficult to focus, and then you get this bye weekend, right? So it's very important for us to get together as a team and stay focused and practice. And JT even put us on the line and made us do wind sprints. He said it's not done yet, guys.
Wow, that's and when JT does something, you have a pretty good idea that he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he's he didn't play forever because he's in great shape, but yeah. He played forever because of his mind, that's for sure.
Yeah. I'm very curious with, you've been in a couple of finals now, playing Saskatchewan and then Calgary, and obviously didn't turn out the way you were hoping. And I know that game 1 it's one game, but it's got to feel really important, I would think, for you guys to come in and come out strong and have a really good first game and get a win in game 1 and not put yourselves in position to have to come back.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like, if you're going down in that first game, it's only a 3-game series. So, it's do or die, obviously, but it feels do or die at the beginning. This first game feels like a do or die game. So again, it's playoffs are a scary thing, man. Like you said, I've been there in 16 and 19, and you never know when you're going to get there, when you're going to get back, and just enjoy it and be happy or get to play lacrosse again. That's what these years off, this COVID stuff and all, it's just so grateful to be playing. And that's just the main focus of myself is, do the game justice, play as hard as I can, and the rest will just be what it is.
I'm trying to remember when you were named captain. Were you already the captain of the Bandits in 2019, or was that after?
No, I think I was, because I got it after Billy D, and I don't think he was with us then. Yeah. But I could be wrong. I'm not totally sure.
I can't remember either. I was thinking back to it. I was trying to picture the series, and I can picture a lot of the series, but I don't feel like Billy D was there.
It's like I think I'd remember Billy in that locker room, and for some reason I know him and I love him so much, and I have all these memories of him, but nothing sticks out from that 2019. So I don't think so.
How would you compare your style as a captain to Billy D? I mean, he was obviously such a leader and such a charismatic guy, and you are as well, but I feel like in a bit of a different way. How have you taken things from him and brought your own stamp to being the captain of a team?
Yeah, the big thing I've taken from him is a leave it all on the floor mentality, right? With this, every game is life or death, and every game we just play so passionately, and that's the way he played, and that's the way I want to play. Billy was a little more vocal in the locker room. That man commands the room very well, and myself, I've kind of left that to the guys that naturally take that on. Right? You have your Dane, you have your Josh, and these guys that they have a lot of great things to say, and it doesn't always need to be coming from one voice. So let people flourish and all that. I know with Billy, he commands a room, man. That guy. So kudos to him.
Yeah. I'm curious, like, obviously, I think you have a very good defense. You guys have had a really good season, but when from the outside, people look at the team and see, the offense, fourth highest scoring team in NLL history for a season. You've got Vino, who's won 7 Goalie of the Year awards, could well get an 8th this year. I'm wondering, that makes people look and say, well, if the defense holds up their end, you should be in good shape. Like, does that put pressure on you guys as a defensive unit, or is that irrelevant? You just go do your thing?
I think it does both. I think we really try to focus on not focusing on it, right? But it is in your mind. At the same time, defense has won us games and offense has won us games, right? I know a lot of people credit, the defense won us games, so Matt Vince must have played really well, and he probably did. But we had to play well too, because you don't have one without the other. The man won Defensive Player of the Year on our team. Like, we chose him as he's one of our defensemen. He's not necessarily separate like the rest of the world looks at it. If we're not on, he's not on. If he's not on, we're not on. It's not like we're separate entities. At the same time, like, I know we have we have this unbelievable offense and they have this athleticism that I don't think I've ever seen before. But our man short, I think our percentage was the highest in the league, if not at the top, right? And it's like, again, that could be Vino, or that could be the fact that Brownell soaked 6 shots in that game as well, right? So it's like, there's a lot of things like that sometimes a player like Brownell or Sweeting or Justin Martin or Nick Weiss will go overlooked. And, you kind of go towards the goal scorers and things like that. But, it's just a little shout out to our defense. But it is the offense and the goalie that is like, that's what people want to see, right? Like, let's call a spade a spade. That is fun to watch, man. Nobody wants to see good, strong, fundamental defense except the guys that are on the floor. I do. I do too. But TSN necessarily doesn't, right? And that's just what it is.
I think they enjoyed the 18-17,
I think so too. They didn't like the defensive adjustments, that's for sure. But I did.
See, I like an 11-10 game. Or 10-9. I think that's a lot of fun if it's a well-played game. Honestly, I thought the game that you guys played against Albany was that first half where it was like 2 goals each. I thought that was fantastic lacrosse.
Oh, it was beautiful, wasn't it? It was a chess game the whole time. The whole game was a chess match. They make a move, we make counter move. And maybe like a 15-12 game might be that like butter zone of enough entertainment for people. But but our goal at the beginning of the year is to hold guys to under 10. And right. And like, that's our goal, but necessarily not what lacrosse wants to see. So, who knows where it's going to go.
Last question. You guys did play Colorado in the regular season. You went their loss. Again, a kind of a more higher scoring game. Does that mean anything? Did you guys take some things from that, or is that just over? Are you just going to look at it for lessons and be ready to go this weekend?
Oh, there's a lot we can take from it. There's a ton of tendencies that we can pick up, and how we're going to defend that. At the same time, it's tough to beat a team a couple times in a row, right? So it's like it sucks to have lost to them, but at the same time, like, we're coming in as the underdog. In my mind, we're the underdog mentality. We lost to them. They're up. They have the edge on us, right? So we need to have that mentality going into it.
I think that's a tough sell to everybody else. I think for the most part, I think you're going to go in as favorites in most people's books based on the strength of the East and the records and things. But I love that you're presenting it that way. Like, that's the way to go, right?
Yeah, man, we lost to them. We owe them one, right? So that's the mentality we have right now.
Pri, it's always great to catch up. Really appreciate you taking the time to come on the Crosslink. Wish you all the best of luck in the championship. And I know I and so many people are really excited to see you guys in Colorado play in the next couple of weeks at least.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I've absolutely loved watching lacrosse on days that I get to watch it, and like having that weekend off. It was just a pleasure to be a fan of the game for a minute and watch a game. And I think lacrosse is doing really good things right now.
Welcome to Lacrosse Link, Colorado Mammoth, West Division champion, alternate captain, Joey Cupido. It's great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
It's fun to get together. It's been a while since we had a chance to chat, but what great circumstances. You are the West Division champions. That's been a while coming for you guys. You've been working towards that. What's it feel like to know that you're going to the finals?
Really, words can't do it justice. Such an incredible feeling. You know, we've been at it for so long. We've had so much heartbreak over the years and so many near misses. So to finally get over that hump and get to the West Finals is awesome. But we're happy but not satisfied because we know there's still a lot of work left to be done.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you take that day or so and celebrate and enjoy and then get ready for the next round. And one of the things that stood out in the game last weekend and that has stood out with your team kind of throughout the season is the comebacks. You guys have just done it so much that you don't even seem phased. At this point, you had the huge comebacks against Vancouver and things. You're down by 4 goals at the half. Did you guys seem like, were you worried at all, or was it just like, we just got to do it again?
I don't think we were worried. You know, I obviously would rather be up by 4 goals next time, but you know, Patty said it in the locker room, kind of what's next, just worry about the next shift. We didn't have great body language on first half. You know, all season long, we've been really resilient, really scrappy. We've really fought for a full 60, and we didn't kind of let negative things phase us. But this game, I don't know, maybe it was because of the do or die game, but every time they seemed to score or you know, we had a turnover or something on offense, the body language wasn't what we needed it to be, but we corrected that in the second half. We had a lot more energy. We stayed positive and slowly chipped away at it. You know, it's something a team, like you said, has done throughout the season. We had 2 big comebacks against Vancouver, a bunch of other ones where we were down at half, and you know, we just kind of know how to play in that position. But hopefully, going forward, we can get off some better starts and build a lead this time around.
Yeah, it's a funny thing because it's you're comfortable. It seems almost like somebody said, oh, they had him right where they wanted him, up by 4 at the half. But it's not like you want to keep repeating that.
Yeah, I mean, I was one of the guys saying that in the locker room as well. There were a few guys saying that, and I don't know. Again, yeah, you definitely don't want to be in that position, but we know how to play in that position, and I think we're a team that's going to give you a full 60, no matter what the circumstances, whether we're up 5, down 5, doesn't matter. We're going to keep coming at you and we're going to keep fighting. And there's no quit in the locker room. So it's good to know and good to draw on as we go forward from that experience.
I want to talk about the goal that you scored the other night, because I think jaws were dropping across the lacrosse world when you scored that goal. You come down, spin off the check in transition, and then spin again. And watching it, the natural thinking was there's got to be some luck there. That's like kind of a lucky shot because you're spinning, throwing it over the shoulder, bouncing it through. But I watched it a bunch and it looked like you absolutely knew what you were doing. How much do you think was luck, and how much were you like, was that the plan? Because that was a crazy goal. It was so exciting.
To be honest with you, it was the plan, but it's lucky that it went in the net. So when I first went down, just trying to freeze the defender, make it look like we had someone coming off the bench so I could just get a normal shot off. Short side looked like it was open, but that wasn't there. And then when I saw it was a defender, saw it was a rookie defender, I thought a fake shot through the spin. I've done that a bunch of times in my career, and hopefully he didn't know I was going to do that. And it actually worked. And if you watch, he grabs me. Like, it should have been a holding penalty. So my thought as he's grabbing me, and I had one hand on my stick, was the only way I'm going to get a shot off is behind the back. And so he kind of like pulled me. I started the behind the back, and then when my back was turned, I was just thinking behind the back, throw some low junk, and then hopefully draw a penalty. Like, I wasn't really thinking I was going to be able to score anything. And I didn't see the ball go in the net, but I looked over and saw it sitting in the net after. And just at that point in the game, you know, it was a big goal for us to get us the lead with about 10 minutes left. And I ran off and just always look up and make sure I didn't go in the crease. That's always my first thought on a breakaway. Yeah. Once I saw it was clean, it was just, I was just so pumped. And I think it really gave us a spark because I was fired up for sure.
Yeah, I mean, goal of the year, I think everyone's saying, and it was amazing. There have been some amazing goals, the Westberg around the world in the air, some of Ryan Lee's goals and things, but to me, it was a goal of the year contender for sure. Another big goal a little bit later, and I'm wondering how much Tim Edwards being back has meant to you guys, because when they scored a goal to break your run and then he wins the faceoff, goes down, just makes a great play to set up the goal. I thought, wow, that is something that I think Tim Edwards is one of the overlooked guys in the league, and I'm sure you guys appreciate having him back.
Timmy's incredible. I mean, that was the goal of the game, and nothing away from Liger or Zeddy and Robbie and all they did up front, but that was the goal of the game to change the whole complexion, all the momentum. And right after they scored as well. But I mean, it's nothing new with Tim. You look at the Calgary game, first round of playoff, did the exact same thing with Zeddy. Won a big face-off after Calgary scored, got the ball to Zed on a breakaway, and he did the same thing tonight. And, the thing about Timmy is not only is he an elite draw guy and face-off guy, but he's probably, not even probably, he is the best defender out of anyone who takes face-offs in the league. No one talks about him. No one really recognizes him, but he's a guy that we sorely miss because of his ability to take draws, but then just be one of our regulars on defense and not get the beat. So to have him back in the lineup for our playoff run is awesome, and it's really given us a boost since he's been back.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you put forth the argument for Jake Withers, who's a really good defender, who's a good draw guy, and Joe Nardella, who's been very good in New England or in Albany. But to me, Tim Edwards has been, you can almost forget about the face-offs, and he brings so much just on the defensive side. I think that, the face-offs are almost just a bonus, but when he wins those big ones like that, that's a real boost.
Yeah, absolutely. And, those other guys are great at it too, but I'll take Timmy 7 days a week. So I'm a big Timmy guy, and like I said, the spark it gave us and the emotion and the passion he shows for the game, it's stuff that just fires us up, and all the intangibles like that as well. So I love having Timmy, and having him back is so big for us during this playoff run.
Speaking of important players on the team, obviously Ryan Lee, amazing season, had the most assists ever. He just happened to be beaten by Dane Smith, who had even more, but he would have set the record for assists in a season. Great year. He's out, and you've actually been scoring more in the playoffs without him than you did in the regular season, in spite of that incredible year. And now it's a small sample size, and I don't think anyone's suggesting it's a good thing that Ryan Lee is not available. But I think the job you guys have done from one end of the floor to the other in the transition game, with other guys stepping up on offense, and especially Eli McLaughlin, of course, but Connor Robinson and Zed Williams and everybody, I think is really remarkable and speaks to how this team is coming together.
Yeah, we're really gelling at the right time right now. Leesy's, you can't have a bigger loss, and I just feel gutted that he's been able to play in the playoffs with us right now. And he's been awesome off the floor, as he's been hurt, and great in the locker room as well, in good spirits and stuff. And he's been encouraging us and being with us every step of the way. And he's sorely missed. And even if we had more goals than him, we'll take Leasy 100 times out of 100 and rather have him back on the floor. But like you mentioned, other guys have stepped up. Liger's been incredible. He's done that his whole career. He's just finally getting noticed now because of the stage and what he's done so far in the playoffs. Robbie's been fantastic for us all season. And even Zeddy, like you mentioned, it's a little bit different with Leasy out. The ball's going to stick a little bit more. He can create a little bit more, and he's really put that right side on his back too. But every single guy on our offense, there's some guys who score more than others, but the unheralded guys who do the dirty work, Chris Wardle, Dylan Kinnear, B-Mac, Gibby, like those guys are putting in the work to get those guys open, and it's really a team effort up front, and everyone's clicking at the right time up there.
I think Buffalo will come in as favorites, having finished first in the regular season, having won 4 more games than you did. But the interesting thing everyone's talked about, the East has been the stronger division. They won 12 out of the 18 interconference games in the regular season. But to me, one of the really interesting things is, of those 6 games that the West won, you guys won 3 of them. You're the only team in the West with a winning record against the East. You went 3-0. So I would think you feel pretty confident going into this matchup.
I feel confident going into every matchup. I think we're going to win every game, go 18-0 every year. So it doesn't change. Doesn't matter who our opponent is. We're going to play the same way. We beat Buffalo early in the season, obviously under different circumstances. We had them on the second night of a back-to-back at home. They were missing a couple of guys, but nonetheless, it gives us a little bit of confidence. Gives us a little bit of film, knows what to expect a little bit. But it's going to be a battle, and rightfully so for them to be favorites. Like I said, the best record. They have an unbelievable offense, great defense, great goaltending. But I think we're happy being in that underdog role, and we're a team that's going to keep fighting. We're going to come at them for a full 60, and we'll see what happens on Saturday.
Always great to catch up, Joey. Appreciate you taking the time to come on Lacrosse Link.
And no problem. Thanks for having me. It's fun to be there.
Hi, this is Jaden with Al Anderson Source for Sports. Excited to tell you that we got all our new lacrosse product in for this upcoming season. Whether you're playing box or field, our lacrosse experts are going to make sure we get you into the right equipment to elevate your game. At Al Anderson Source for Sports, we know our stuff.
All right, it is time for the rundown, as we had great interviews with Steve Priolo and Joey Cupido. Always fun catching up with two of the really good defenders / transition players in the NLL. We're going to shift a little bit to start the rundown and look at the NCAA Championships, which happened last weekend, and it was a pretty exciting weekend. We had 3 undefeated champions. The Maryland Terrapins finished off their perfect season. It was tight. They beat Cornell 9-7 in the final for a thrilling win. They finally got over a hump that they have been trying to get over. A lot of the talk was about the Maryland offense. They're so powerful, Wisnauskas, and they were so good. But how funny is it then that goalie Logan McNanny is the most outstanding player in the NCAA Championship tournament for his fantastic play? At the D2 level, Tampa goes undefeated. They beat Mercy 11-7 in the final. Great year for them. And their coach, of course, coming over from a team that Tampa had been losing to previously. So good for them. Interesting note, the only team to get closer than 2 goals to them all year, and one of only 2 teams to get within 3, was Florida Tech, who actually took them to double overtime in a game earlier this season during the regular season. So very interesting for Florida Tech. A strong year for that Sunshine State Conference. Look out for Tampa coming back next year and a burgeoning Florida Tech program. In D3, the only non-perfect champion, but RIT, had their own claim to fame. They had back-to-back championships. A tight one this year. They downed Union 12-10. Not quite as tight as last year, the drama they had with the late goal to tie it on the strip and then the overtime win. But a happy bunch of Tigers for sure. And in the women's NCAA championship, maybe the best of them all, North Carolina, another undefeated champion. They go 22-0, which included 3 wins over the reigning or defending champion Boston College Eagles, including, of course, the championship game, a 12-11 nail-biter. The thing that everyone seems to be talking about with Boston College and Carolina and other schools playing is how high the level of NCAA women's lacrosse has risen. The quality of play, the pace of play, absolutely remarkable over the last couple of years with this pair of teams at the forefront. So congratulations to all of the champions in the NCAA. We go back to box lacrosse and Major Series lacrosse, which is not playing. It has been an ongoing saga. They played 1 game at the Bread and Cheese Festival in 6 Nations. Brooklyn Lacrosse Club went down, but the refs did not appear. The OLA said they were sending refs. Refs didn't come. They had to find refs to call that game. Now the season is on hold. There's no agreement between the Ontario Lacrosse Association and Major Series Lacrosse. The big issue, of course, Brampton was sold to Joe Norton. He moved them to Owen Sound a couple of years later when he felt he just couldn't sustain the team in Brampton. A group in Brampton appealed that move to the OLA a couple of years later. OLA sided with them, and a couple of weeks before the MSL season was supposed to start, the OLA announced that MSL needed to send Owen Sound back to Brampton, give Owen Sound an expansion franchise, and go with 7 teams this season. Obviously not something very realistic to make happen, to add a team, to shift a team, to figure out the schedule, all these things a couple weeks before the season. Not very likely that that was able to happen. So many issues on both sides. I mean, you can have whatever opinion you feel about the whole situation, but to me, the big thing is it's so crushing to everyone who is just eagerly anticipating the return of MSL action this summer. Luckily, there are other things going on. The WLA did start its season. All the teams are playing. It kicked off with a terrific game in the Westminster Salmon Bellies, traveling to Victoria to play the Shamrocks. Very exciting to have games underway, inching back towards normal. Of course, unfortunately, normal for lacrosse means there's some controversy or there are situations that you just have trouble understanding. This one in the WLA, I think, kind of snuck up on folks. Chase Scanlon played the Langley Thunder's opening game, scoring 6 goals to lead them to a 13-12 win over the Maple Ridge Burrards. Now, it was shocking to just suddenly see him playing, see him in the box score, given that the last we heard of him was he was dismissed from Syracuse because of a domestic violence incident. In that case, he was temporarily removed from the team, had to be temporarily reinstated. because of procedures that had to be followed, his entire team, every one of his teammates, refused to take the practice field with him. They would not practice if he was there. The school had to set up separate practice times for him. Then he skipped some court-ordered domestic violence courses he needed to take to stay out of jail. Earlier this year, a judge did tell him he's back on track to avoid jail, have his criminal charges dismissed because he restarted the program. Still, it's jarring to suddenly see him suiting up for a senior A team. I hope he really has learned something. I hope he's turned his life around. I hope this second chance isn't for naught. I believe in second chances. I just don't know how I would feel about having him come join my team. At this point, I would tend to err on the side of supporting the victim rather than the perpetrator in domestic violence issues. We'll see how it plays out. Certainly wish all the best for everyone moving forward. Not sure. Some good news. Junior leagues, A, B, and C level, playing across Canada, from Nova Scotia to British Columbia. And in fact, you look at the Junior B League in Ontario, they're over halfway through their regular season. There are a ton of teams, 23 in total in the league. The playoffs are an absolute grind, a whole bunch of rounds. It takes a lot to win the Ontario Junior B Championship, which may be part of why Ontario's been so successful at the Founders Cup, winning the majority, really the vast majority of the Canadian championships. But the good news, so far things appear to be going pretty smoothly for most of the leagues, things getting back, as we said, slowly towards normal. The Premier Lacrosse League is underway. Training camps held last weekend. This weekend in Albany, June 4th and 5th, the PLL kicks off, gets their season rolling. So that's exciting for plenty of folks who really love watching that. And of course, this weekend, coming up, the NLL Championship. Before we start thinking about field, before we start thinking too much about the summer lacrosse, the NLL has 2 or 3 more games to play. We heard from Joey Cupido and Steve Priolo, and I think it's going to be a great series. Starts this weekend. The playoffs have been a thrill ride. I'm looking forward to more excitement in the NLL Championship coming up over the next 2 or 3 weeks. I'm Steven Stamp, your host for Lacrosse Link. So thank you so much, lacrosse friends, for being with us. Make sure you come back every week for Lacrosse Link, your link to all things lacrosse.